This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Prime Minister James Marape reiterates on fuel supply. And people in Southern Highlands warned not to cultivate, consume or sell marijuana. And double dedication today as Governor General tells staff to refocus. A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Following a meeting with Puma Energy's top executives in Singapore over the weekend, Prime Minister James Marape has said there must never be a repeat of such a situation in Papua New Guinea, where there is no supply of fuel to planes and ships, the result of cancellation of flights last week due to Puma Energy stopping its supply of aviation gasoline to commercial airlines because it could not get the required foreign exchange to bring in fuel, led to Prime Minister flying to Singapore.
The Prime Minister, James Marape, left for Singapore to meet with Puma Energy's top executives. The high-level dialogue and discussions during the meet was revealed in a press statement from the office of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Marape has asked Puma to come to a meeting with the Bank of PNG with the state as arbitrator for the outstanding issues to be resolved. Marape stated, and I quote, "When we return from Singapore, we will hold a meeting with the central bank to find out exactly what are the issues with Puma so there is never again a repeat of what happened last Thursday." End quote. The Prime Minister's statement revealed that the central bank had raised 13 issues against Puma, which the company had already responded to last September. However, BPNG twice took the company off the foreign exchange registry, resulting in 2 stoppages of aviation gas to commercial airlines. Marape said, and I quote, "This is not just a Puma central bank issue, but one of foreign exchange required by our business community, especially for the import of products into PNG. This issue points us to the fact that we need to relook at how central bank regulates and controls flow of foreign exchange to commercial banks and traders. We want ease of forex to our business community." End quote. Meanwhile, Marape said Puma also highlighted at the meeting that Kutubu crude oil from the Southern Highlands province was not supplied on a regular basis to its Napa Napa refinery. The Prime Minister has directed Minister for Petroleum and Energy Karen Gakua to liaise with Santos and ExxonMobil as how this supply could be increased either to Napa Napa or a new refinery to be set up. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
A duo of dedication services today as the Governor-General, His Excellency Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai, told his staff to refocus his speech to commence the 2023 operational year. A small dedication ceremony was also held to commemorate the new look flag at Government House, which was gifted to the nation by Leon Enterprise Limited.
With only 7 days to go before Parliament elects a Governor-General, the incumbent, His Excellency Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai, and wife Lady Emily Dadai took time to address staff today at Government House as the operational year for the Government House staff began. In his short address to his staff, Governor-General Sir Bob Dadai told his staff to refocus.
I want to encourage all of us to refocus ourselves. What is the purpose of us being here at the Government House? Am I here to just work for my bread and butter? Or am I here to represent my country, to represent His Majesty? And so we have a very, very important task. It's a big task. And it's a privilege and honor for all of us to work here at the Government House.
The message from the Governor-General is timely, as government will sit down in 7 days' time to select the Governor-General, with incumbent Sir Bob Darai also part of the nomination to continue his role as the Vice-Regal. A dedication ceremony was held by Pastor Peter Jesse of the Lutheran Mari Mari Church, blessing the new year and committing the staff and their work. Meanwhile, a new iconic flagpole and station sits atop the field at the Government House today, bearing the coat and arms of the King, proclaiming the nation's allegiance to King Charles III. The flagpole and station was a gift to the nation by Leon Hardware, who provided the materials worth over 80,000 kina. The hardware company used their local SME partner, 9ER, to do the labor work and construction.
For this, the flagpole is roughly around 80,000 plus minus, is including all the staff and all the material and all the bill for the contractor and all this. SME company that is part of my team, and he's got their own company, so we give them opportunity to grow. And then as a local, as also try him to give him the challenge and then to grow himself and then to become a future benefit.
As a local hardware company that is found across the nation, Leon Hardware was pleased to assist the government to do its part in nation building. In appreciation for the donation of materials and work carried out by Leon Hardware, the Governor-General Sir Bob Darai and Lady Darai presented medals to Mr. Ling Zheng Guan, Mr. Ling Sheng Hao, and Chief Ahmed bin Ismail. As the flag fluttered in the wind, the flagpole mounted on its station stands upright, signifies the changing of the guard from the late Queen, paying homage to King Charles III and our country PNG. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
Homebrew consumption is a big concern in the Northern Province. As the consumption of this illegal liquor is on the rise in the province, police are also beefing up operations and manpower to curb its illegal production and consumption. Provincial Police Commander Chief Inspector A.Y. Segi has appealed to business houses, community and church leaders and everyone in the province to help police carry out awareness to stop the use and consumption of homebrew.
The environment is
According to PPC Segi, this homebrew, commonly known in the province as Eveka, has caused several arrests and even deaths from the festive period up until now. PPC Segi explained that hotspot areas of the production and consumption of homebrew are the compounds surrounding the town area. In recent days, a total of 14 suspects, including 2 women, were arrested and charged for willful murder at Ajeka village, about an hour 30-minute drive out of the provincial capital, Popondetta. Based on police reports, after consuming this homebrew, a fight erupted amongst them, resulting in the death of a villager. All 14 suspects are now in custody at the Popondetta police station. The police boss in the province also raised concerns that females are now involved in the production and consumption of this homebrew. With all these challenges faced in the Northern Province, police have beefed up their work, including constant awareness to communities and villages along the Kokoda and Orobe highways about this illegal homebrew Eveka and the charges involved if a person is caught. This is a provincial issue, hence everyone must take responsibility in educating communities for the betterment of the Northern Province. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Minister for Police and Correctional Services and member for Sitalato, John Bosco Ragu, has challenged the people of North Bougainville constituency to lead in restoring law and order back in their communities. Minister Ragu made these comments at the recent Nisira tournament held at the Halia constituency in the autonomous region of Bougainville.
Minister for Internal Security in the autonomous Bougainville government said the people of Halia to Taunita Teop in North Bougainville region must set a good example for the rest to follow. Minister Ragu challenged them to lead before other regions from Central and South Bougainville and the atolls fully restore law and order. He appealed to organizations, ward members, churches and youth groups to talk about law and order and make awareness. Mr. Ragu emphasized that to gain independence, people must first change their attitudes and behavior for the better. He reminded the people of Halia in North Bougainville that the new charge of smoking illicit drugs like marijuana is 40 years imprisonment and 1 million kina fine. Minister Ragu was invited to the Peace Tournament Games at Halia constituency in North Bougainville recently, which turned out to be a success. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Police in Kagua, Southern Highlands Province have warned the people not to cultivate, consume or sell marijuana. Last week, Kagua Police, led by the Highway 21 OIC, Geni Matthew and Francis Puri, entered parts of Aya LLG upon request from local leaders.
The unit entered identified marijuana gardens in Yaguri and Mapata wards and uprooted the plants. Police said the wards around Wabi Lutheran Mission in the Aya LLG have big areas of marijuana plants as well. The police and district law and justice leaders from those council wards are expected to work together to reduce the crime of marijuana and homebrew consumption giving rise to social problems. It is understood that marijuana bags are also used to exchange for firearms with illegal traders along the borders of Western and Gulf provinces. Meanwhile, Philip Kumo, Southern Highlands Eastern End Police Commander, has commended the efforts in the fight against the illicit drug. Few of the suspects involved in cultivating marijuana in Kagua were taken to Yalubu Police Cell yesterday. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. The Minister for International Trade and Investment, Richard Maru, has acknowledged the Simbu provincial government for the 2.3 million kina support for the implementation of the Karamui Special Economic Zone in Simbu province.
And our provinces.
Minister for International Trade and Investment Richard Maru emphasized on the intention of the government to unlock the economic potential for all the provinces of the country. Minister Maru announced that Simbu is the first province to invest in a special economic zone project.
But today I want to place on record and thank the Vice Minister and the Department of National Planning for releasing 1.3 million for a study into this special economic zone, which will be a special agriculture zone, and of course the Simbu provincial government who are going to give $1 million today. In my time as minister, Simbu has created history, and making history today by being the first provincial government to come forward with funding.
Maru applauded the province for their faith and ideas of setting up an economic zone in Karamui. He highlighted the plans for the project.
That it must cover energy, security, what do we do, how many crops are we going to grow there, where are roads going to come and go, where do we get the energy from, how do we start our law and order. So all of that has to be included in the scope of the study. So we have one comprehensive study.
In addition, the Vice Minister for National Planning and member for Chuave, James Nomane, said all the Simbu leaders are united to start the project.
And Simbu is the only province that has achieved a political committee. That's the 7 MPs of Simbu under their governor working in one accord. You can't say this for any other province. This is why this is a special case, and this is why we're so confident that Karamui will succeed for the people of Simbu.
Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
NCD Provincial Health Authority Dr. Stephen Yeni has stated that the ongoing issue with procurement of drugs It's the responsibility of the Health Department, and the NCDPHA will support procurement in other ways if there is a shortage. Dr. Yeni's comments come following the Minister for Health, Dr. Lino Tom's confirmation that medicines and vital drugs will be sourced directly from pharmaceutical factories without the involvement of any third parties, distribution companies, starting this year.
Health clinics in and around the National Capital District will be aided by the NCD Health Authority this year to procure drugs to assist the general public. The ongoing issue with procurement of drugs has always been an issue and falls under the responsibility of the Health Department. However, the NCD Provincial Health Authority CEO, Dr. Stephen Yeni, said the NCD Health Authority stands to assist where it can.
Procurement of medicine is the responsibility of the Department of Health. That's the rest of the department. But we, the respective health authority, we can use our own operational money to pay for medical supplies from private pharmacies. Because of the challenge on procurement and the logistic to move medicine, within Barrier Medical Store to our respective, facility and also to the regional warehouse, it's quite a big challenge which the Department of Health can try and address the issue at that level. But for us here, if there's no medicine in the pharmacy, sometimes it's not the right thing to do, but we will ask the patient to buy medicine, medicines from the product.
Medical surgeon turned politician and Minister for Health, Dr. Lino Tom, has assured the nation that the decision that medicines and vital drugs will be sourced directly from pharmaceutical factories and was taken to save cost and to ensure the quality of basic medicines and vital drugs are not compromised. Minister Tom said that since 2020, the health sector has seen an increase in its budget by about 30%. According to Minister Tom, it is believed that the Health Department will go into state-to-state agreement to deal straight with the pharmaceutical factories and get the lowest price possible, at least for basic drugs and medical supplies. The approach is supported by the World Health Organization and other development agencies that work with the National Department of Health annually. This is to assist SMEs and businesses who can supply the non-essential medical consumables, so our people must not suffer at the expense of profiteering enterprises. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
Service delivery in the North Fly district of Western Province will continue for the benefit of the people. Despite election-related petitions and court cases, leaders of the District Development Authority, including urban local level governments and rural LLGs, are working together to ensure development plans are carried out accordingly. Local member James Donald revealed this after meeting his people in Kiunga recently. He added that there will be any new development plans for this year, but plans of the last 5 years will be brought forward. Therefore, all are intact for service delivery.
Prasim aside, talk to him of court case, that kind something with election petition. This line not affecting service delivery. This line not affecting women work and no more. It's going to continue what we plan to do in the last 5 years. Tranlo working mode is a full 5 years. Like that, petition taking more. No God, Lucip Sampla continue goes. So I'm legally head of talk me put him atata solo. Things like connecting roads, building this, all stuff here. So while we focus on that now, legal side support, or think, or Kirabim community kind of now comes, we will work along the Wibla by go. So I mean like you must have as a government.
And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2840 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.2765 US, $0.4061 Australian dollars, $0.2554 euro, 36.44 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading higher, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed higher, copra closed lower, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading higher, and copper closed lower. On the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading higher, the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. The Governor of Simbu Province, Noah Cool, has announced that the Simbu provincial government is showing its support in another 1 million kina given for the implementation of the Karamui Special Economic Zone in Simbu Province. This adds on to the 1.3 million kina supported by the National Planning and Monitoring Minister. This brings the total to 2.3 million kina. Cool made the announcement today for the Karamui Special Economic Zone project to the Minister for International Trade and Investment, Richard Maru, at the Gateway Hotel in Port Moresby.
The Karamui Special Economic Zone will be the first successful one in the country for this year, as alluded to by Governor for Simbu Province, Noah Cool. Governor Cool has acknowledged the support of the 6 local members of Simbu for their support. Governor Cool thanked the Marape-Rosso government through the stewardship of the Minister for International Trade and Investment, Richard Maru, for successfully implementing the Special Economic Zone. Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
Moving overseas now, and China has reopened its borders to international visitors for the first time since it imposed travel restrictions in March of 2020.
Incoming travellers will no longer need to quarantine, marking a significant change in the country's COVID policy as it tackles a surge in cases. They will still require proof of a negative PCR test taken within 48 hours of travelling. The move has been welcomed by many eager to reunite with family.
The Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the West Australian Premier Mark McGowan will visit Fitzroy Crossing and other communities affected by the devastating floods in the state's Kimberley region.
It is sort of a case the last day or two. The water has come down in Fitzroy Crossing and the extent of the damage is a bit clearer for some people. I was speaking to some residents who have been able to get into their homes and to really see the extent of the damage, losing things, their fridge, their TV, their personal belongings, everything being inundated with water. One resident described to me that the homes that have been inundated, everything is just mud. Now, that's the case for homes and buildings in town. The local shop was being cleaned up. That's yet to open here in Fitzroy Crossing. Residents still relying on hampers delivered by a food bank set up by a local organisation here in town. Here at the Fitzroy Crossing Airport, 4 tonnes of supplies, more than 4 tonnes of supplies have arrived over the past few days since airspace in the Kimberley has reopened after this weather system's left. And that will be the case for quite some time.
Prince Harry says he wants to mend the divisions between himself and the royal family in the first of a series of television interviews. But despite the tone of reconciliation, the public allegations could drive a deeper wedge between the House of Windsor.
Prince Harry is doing a series of sit-down interviews in both the US and the UK to promote his new tell-all memoir. Now, the book was put on shelves early in Spain, and because of that, almost the entirety of its contents have been reported in the international press. But these interviews are the first time that Prince Harry is being challenged or questioned about some of the claims he makes. In the book, he writes about physical fights with his brother Prince William. He talks about the rift with his family and claims that his brother and his father's press office were routinely leaking against him and his wife. He's also asked for the first time why. Why choose to put all of these details on the public record? Now, Prince Harry emphatically says this isn't about money. He doesn't want people to think that's his motivation. He says he's doing this because he feels that for decades other people have been writing his story.
Supporters of Brazilian far-right ex-president Jair Bolsonaro have stormed Congress and the Supreme Court and surrounded the presidential palace. The dramatic scenes came a week after left-wing veteran Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's inauguration.
It's one of the most important questions being discussed in Brazil right now. That something was expected to happen is not so much surprising, because since before the elections, we've had a lot of the extreme right protesters, if you want to call them that. There were people who were signaling that they were willing to escalate. However, with President Lula taking over government just now, January 1st, and it was peaceful and it was fine, and the groups that were really concerning seemed to be thinning out, that were camping out outside of the armed forces, barracks and everything. I don't think this exactly was expected. So there's a difference in saying, yes, I think Brazilians are not surprised that something happened. I think we were surprised just that this happened this way.
You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The Vanagi Community Volleyball Competition started its pre-season yesterday at Vanagi in Mosby South Electorate. This is a 2-week pre-season with 10 teams consisting of 4 divisions.
The competition saw all interested individuals comprising of men, women and children come in their different uniforms for their first day of competition. The chairman of the Vanagi community, Valoketo, said after playing this preseason for 2 weeks, they will go into the actual competition and the grand finals are expected to be played early March before the children return to school. He mentioned that there are about 40 teams in its divisions, and it is all about socializing and enjoying themselves while children are on holidays.
So every club has got 4 divisions to participate, like they will have A grades, men and women, then we will have A reserve, men and women. So total of every club is 4 teams in a club. It's almost 40 players in each team, so we are looking at about 500 young men and women, married and all, they are taking part. So it's something like we're socializing our community together and enjoying the days here.
He said this volleyball competition aims to unite the youths and to stop them from getting involved in other activities that are bad, such as stealing or taking drugs on the streets.
The main purpose and the objective of running this competition is just to get the youths and young people away from the alcohol and drugs and all this, so that we'll have a very peaceful community to look at.
Estagane, Trukai Sports.
The Port Moresby Corporate Cricket is into its week 8 of competition. Different corporate houses are taking part in this competition, consisting of both male and female teams. This competition is purposely to create social activities among the corporate houses with their employees.
The participants in the Indo Cricket competition are Bank of PNG, Bank South Pacific Paradise International Hospital, NCDC PNG Power, Telecom Limited Credit Corporation, Number 1 Super TISA GFI Flame, Kina Bank Moniplus, NBC Capital Insurance, Water PNG, Digitech, Westpac, Puma, Coca-Cola, and a few more. This competition started 8 weeks ago, and the matches are played every weekend. Yesterday's game started at 10:30 a.m. and finished at 4:30 p.m., which saw all teams participating in 4 different courts. The brand manager for New Guinea Ice, Rolf Kekedo, said this is SP Brewery's first season in the Indo Cricket competition.
Indo Cricket Competition has been, corporate indoor cricket has been going on for some time, but this is our first time participating in this competition for SB Brewery as a company.
He said about 20 staff are taking part in this competition, and this competition is so helpful for them to release some stress after spending most of the hours from Monday to Friday at work.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good for our employees, especially we normally work 8 to 5, and then from there we're going back home, and then we have to attend to our family lives as well, and then back the next day again to focus on work. So having something to do on the weekend, it actually takes a bit of that stress out. Sometimes for us to relax, and then plenty of people don't get that exercise in, like myself. So it's good to actually come here and sweat it out a bit and take part in this really good competition that I currently have running.
To make the game interesting, he also mentioned that any of the players that hit the banners from the back of the court 6 times will walk away with a small reward, which acts as motivation for his team members.
It's our first season here in the competition, and we kind of decided to spice the competition up a bit. So if you look around the field, the courts itself, there's some of our banners around. So what we put is that basically if any of the players hits the ball and they hit the back net, it's counted as 6, and then pretty much they get a 6-pack as well.
The knockouts are expected to be played in March of 2023. Esther Gane, Trukai Sports.
The Governor's Cup entered its quarter-finals yesterday, which saw a continuous battle between the Surrey Hawks and the Connie Texas Reds. Both teams drew to an 8-all at the final siren. They will now await the announcement of their rematch from the match officials of the NCD Governor's Cup Tournament 2022.
The match was an unpredictable clash as it unveiled in a nature that left the crowds unsettled. The opening half saw both sides showcasing a great number of errors in ball handling and defense structure. The Connie Texas Reds had a good number of missed scoring opportunities, and as was the case for their opponents, the Surrey Hawks. As the crowd grew anxious of who would score the opening try, little did they know that the Reds would make an impression through a 90-meter race scouted by Reds centre Shamadin Mark. This scoring, alongside 2 successful conversions by Reds' Lok Alukono, secured the lead for his side in the first half by 8 points as Hawks trailed scoreless. In the second half, both sides returned with noteworthy forces embedded within their defense structure. The Hawks side pushed a little further. This saw a combination of tries scored by Hawks centre Jay Oka and left winger Samson Hanari, equalizing the scoreboards to 8-all. By the sound of the final hooter, both teams drew to 8-all. An extra 10 minutes was offered for the match to proceed, to which neither teams succeeded in. This then led to the match referee offering an unlimited timing for the match. However, after a few minutes of the unlimited time given, both teams were unsuccessful in securing the win, which signaled the match officials to call off the game. An unsettled Connie Texas Reds coach, Clive Kemmer, aired his view on the match.
We had quite a long game today. We had almost about 60 minutes a game, 20 minutes each way, but we drew 8-all, and then they gave us an extra 10 minutes to play both ways, and we played another extra 10 minutes, which is a bit, it took a toll on the boys, both teams. So I think what the officials did was, instead of letting the unlimited time going on, they called it off. So they're going to give us a washout game probably tomorrow, or depending on the schedule.
Meanwhile, the match officials have decided that these 2 teams will have a rematch anytime this week following the completion of the quarter-finals. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. Every big event always requires security service to ensure a smooth flow of throughout the tournament, and the NCD Governors Cup is no different, with the NCD Governors Cup well into its finals playoff and staged at the Mosby South Stadium. The tournament has opened its doors by offering the Mosby South electorate youths with the role of marshals to ensure and provide security service that the tournament will need throughout the finals.
A total of 60-plus marshals are currently providing this security service for the Mosby South Stadium, as it is the first of its kind opportunity to host the biggest NCD Governors Cup 2022. The marshals are spread out in all parts of the stadium, both within and outside. The distribution of tasks for the 60-plus marshals currently taking part to offer security is as follows. The main entrance is the checkpoint. Up to not more than 15 marshals are placed there, and they ensure that the general public entering the vicinity through vehicle or on foot are thoroughly checked so as to ensure that prohibited substances like alcohol, betel nut and knives do not enter the stadium. Another 15 are stationed at the second gate and are responsible for the gate fee collection and the second checkup for especially peasants traveling through vehicle. The remaining lot are scattered around the four corners of the stadium amongst the fans and supporters to oversee and ensure that there is no misbehaving. This is Max Mark. He is the marshal leading the youths at the first gate. He shared with us on how they have carried out their duties throughout the past 2 days of the NCD Governors Cup finals competition.
Welcome, no problem maybe come up. The stadium walk throughout inside the filter solna. Outside lo kappa go again lo outside area all many markets that we can look into. Sample muscles
Mark added that as this is the first of its kind and by far the biggest sporting event to be staged at the Mosby South Stadium, representing all the marshals, Mark acknowledged their member for the world-class stadium and thanked the NCD governor for offering them such a privilege to host this tournament. Other than the security aspect of their duties, the marshals are paid 50 kina per day, as it provides an employment opportunity for especially the youths of Mosby South electorate to abstain from partaking in illicit activities. Meanwhile, the marshals will continue to offer security service for the NCD Governors Cup until the finals are completed. Lisa Puni, Chukai Sports.
To overseas sports now, and Novak Djokovic has fought back from a sit-down to beat Sebastian Korda in the Adelaide International Final.
Because the American really soaked up the pressure from Novak to convert his seventh set point. A fuming Djokovic was then seen yelling at and banishing two of the members in his entourage, including his brother that was sitting courtside. But that really spurred on the former world number one. He continued to struggle a little bit in that second set, but then found some form to win it and carry that momentum into the third. And so he ended up winning that one in 3 sets. And here's what he had to say after that match.
I would like to thank my team for handling me, tolerating me in the good and bad times. Today, I'm sure they didn't have such a blast with me going back and forth with them. But, you know, I appreciate them being here. My brother Marco is also here, that I don't see him that much. So I appreciate you coming here, Mare. Love you.
And in cricket, it was a bit of an anticlimax in the Australia-South Africa as both sides drew.
Who in the final match, in the final day really, showed their best batting performance of the entire series. It was 2 for 106. Australia needed 8 wickets for victory, but that was how it ended on the final afternoon. It was Usman Khawaja, player of the match, obviously, with 195.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby City, cloudy periods with patchy rain. Daru, cloudy periods with few showers. Kerma and Alatau, few showers. Popondetta, cloudy with rain periods. In the Momase region, Ley and Medang, few showers. Wewak and Vanimo, cloudy with few showers and possible thunderstorm. In the New Guinea Islands region, Loringau, Kavieng, Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka, fine. Kimbe, few showers. In the Highlands region, all center is cloudy with rain periods, then morning fog. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait to Daru to Kerema to Yule Island to Hood Point. Seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Samurai Islands to Cape Vogel and eastern and western Milne Bay Islands. Seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Cape Vogel to Ewan Gulf to Finschhafen. Seas 0.5 to 1 meter. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitis Dampier Straits to CRC and Long Islands, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of north of Long Island to Medang to Wewak to Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 0.5 to 1 meter. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 0.5 to 1 meter. Waters of New Ireland to New Britain and Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Ocean forecast, Coral Sea, seas light to moderate southwest to westerly winds of 10 to 20 knots. Solomon Sea, seas light west to northwest winds of 10 to 15 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas smooth north to northwest winds of 5 to 10 knots. And Pacific Ocean, seas light to moderate northeast to northwest winds of 10 to 20 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Monday, the 9th of January 2023. From the entire news team, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.